It's a great privilege of ours to bring all kinds of talent to this city, and very very famous across the world, and very entertaining. And I'm glad you're all here on this Sunday to welcome to the stage one of the most popular characters of all time. So he really doesn't need much more of an introduction for his well-known talent, but I'd like Tampa Bay welcome for Mr. Charles Martinet.
That's what I want to say first. Oh, Luigi number one. Luigi number one. Oh, wait, I forgot. Mommy said say something nice. Hey, Luigi, everybody keep me. I'm baby Mario. Let's go. Yahoo! So first let me say, I don't know how to do it. I thought there'd be like a table here, but I didn't see a table. So I'm going to put this down a little bit lower. There. Water set, tea set. So first of all, I'm so grateful to be here. You know, I love Tampa. What a great city this is. And the people at Informa, you know, thank you so much for bringing me here. It's just such a joy. Passion of mine is travel, and I love traveling everywhere in the world. And seeing great cities like this, and seeing the water from my hotel room, it just makes me so happy. But most of all, thank you to all of you, because your love for the video games and the characters that I get the privilege of performing is what allows people like me to go traveling the world and seeing great cities like Tampa and all over the world. And it also gives me the experience of meeting you guys. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for your joy, your happiness, your enthusiasm, and your sense of fun. And I hope you continue to enjoy Mario games for many more years. And I hope I keep doing them for many more years. Because it's so fun, you know? My life is such a joy. I get to do what I love to do, which is act, make people smile, make people have a sense of like, oh boy, that's fun, you know? And then I get to work with wonderful people at Nintendo and the various places that I work. And then I get to come around the world and meet wonderful people like you. So thank you so much. Honestly, it's what I really wish for everybody, is that you find what you love to do. Whether that's being a voice actor or a director or a garbage collector or whatever it is. Find what you love to do. Find your heart's calling, what gives you joy and you happiness. Because I absolutely believe in life, when you're pursuing your happiness, when you're pursuing your love, your joy, your sense of fun, then the universe has just a wonderful way of making sure that you find that fun. You know, and it may not look exactly like you think it's going to look. You know, David Tennant is the only person I've ever met in my life who, when he saw Doctor Who at the age of 5, he said, I want to be him when I grow up. And he became that, you know? The rest of us, I was going to be a lawyer. You know, I was at UC Berkeley. I was convinced that I'd be working at the State Department in London or Paris or Rome or Barcelona and doing State Department work as a lawyer, and you know, and then my life went exactly the opposite way through no control of my own. But I knew that I wanted to be happy. My dad was really happy when he was running a lab, making inventions for Kaiser refractories, but what happens inside a blast furnace at 5,350 degrees to a certain metal alloy or a certain mold alloy, and then changing the chemical composition of the alloy so that it can be reused and do that stuff that is not even close to my brain power, you know. I can say, woohoo, but I can't, you know, I know like, chemistry is like, this is me in chemistry class. I just wasn't good at it. but you know, I still wanted to force myself into being a lawyer because my friends were all becoming lawyers, and it was like a noble career of power and joy, and you know, and then, you know, I couldn't get the classes that I wanted from this one amazing professor who I was studying political science with a theory emphasis. And I thought that's a perfect prelude to law, because it's philosophy, it's thought, it's belief systems, and his philosophy was everybody has a version of the nature of man, like a Hobbesian version where, you know, man is kind of mean and rotten and has to be controlled, and life and nature is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, or Lockean, or, you know, where it's like, no, men are good, and, you know, life is good, and everything's good, but then the country, the state makes things bad, you know, or the social contract. And it was so fascinating to me, going all the way back to Aristotle and Socrates, and all the way into the current, and he was the only professor that ever said, and his exam was 1A and B. 1A, what is the nature of man according to Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, blah, blah, blah. And then 1B, what do you think is the nature of man? And it was the only time in my life that I was ever asked to think in school. And I went, wow, this is great. I'll just blow through the first half and then spend this, you know, the next 2.5 hours on what I think. And I love that, and I decided that's the guy I'm going to do a thesis with. This is my line of study. This is where I'm going to, you know, do graduate work. And I couldn't get into his classes. So, like a typical academe, or not, I said, like a brat, okay, if I can't take his classes, I'm leaving. And I left. And lucky for me, I had a wonderful friend who said, come take an acting class from me. And I said, oh, come on, Les, there is absolutely no way I could ever stand in front of people. I was the type of guy, when I was like a young man, I was so shy that in a room like this, if there were 2 people, I could be invisible, you know? Because I just was terribly shy. And he got me into this acting class because he said, well, why don't you come and we'll have lunch every day at the student cafeteria where they're training chefs. And I said, lunch? Well, I could go for that. I said, but I don't want to do monologues. I don't want to listen. He said, oh, don't worry, learn the monologues and we'll just see what happens when you get there. And I had perfect deceit from a wonderful friend, because I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just go and then we get these monologues. And I'm like, oh, I'll just study it, but I'll just, oh, what's that for lunch? You know, and then sure enough, we do our first monologue, which is the Spoon River anthology, where everybody in the play is dead and does their monologue. As you know, and you know, I had my monologue said, my name is Joe. I died a terrible death in the fire and the rage in the warehouse. You know, and I'm like, oh, I see. I learned my monologue. And you know, they went through everybody, you know, and I was invisible in the back of the room until Les said, well, that's everybody else. Charles, you're up. And I thought, oh my God, I was so terrified. And I'm walking up like, and I walked up there, and you know, there was no microphone, but if I had been, it'd been going like this, because that's what my foot was doing. And I'm like, you know, my name is Joe. I died a terrible death. What's wrong with my foot? And I put my weight on that foot, and then that foot starts going like this. And I put the weight on that foot, and then that little foot, and then they're both going like this. And I'm convinced that the audience is hearing, but I was actually saying the monologue, and I didn't know it. And I got to the end of the monologue, and you know, everybody goes, yay! You know, as you do when you're a young actor, yay! And the criticism of me, because my subtext was, you're gonna die, you're never making the end of this speech, help! You know, and I got to the end, and the criticism was, well, you're the only person who wasn't nervous. How'd you do that? And I was literally like, what? You know? And sure enough, I didn't appear nervous, but I was terrified, and I thought, well, this acting thing isn't as bad as I thought, you know? And then I started doing acting, and then I auditioned for a school play, Midsummer Night's Dream, where I wanted to play Oberon, the king of the fairy. Lie, there lies Titania sometime of the night, you know, fetch me a, you know, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna do this. And I go, and I do my audition, there lies Titania, you know, and you know, college, so you watch everybody else. I watched everybody else do their audition, and I went, I'm number one. I called Les, I said, hey Les, I think I'm gonna get this part. I was really good, and I watched everybody, and I went this, and he said, well, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I got this. Because it was really, I watched everybody, and sure enough, I got absolutely nothing. Not only, I wasn't a king of the fairy, I wasn't a fairy, I wasn't a piece of fairy dust. I got bumpkus. And I thought that was the biggest failure of my life to that point, you know? And that is what lit the fire underneath me. So I just want to say from my personal experience, when you feel life is at its worst and you failed miserably, that's when, you know, the darkest hour is just before dawn. You know, and if you're at dawn, you know, it's coldest right then too, but then the world heats up. And so life does have a series of ups and downs, and it always amazes me because, you know, if you read the newspapers and you look at our world and the way we think, there's just a natural thing of like a certain level of like not trusting the world, not trusting that we're all the same, and believing the idea that we're different. And you know, what I do in life is I travel. I love travel, and I talk to people. I love people. I talk to everybody. And the one thing that I've learned is that we're really alike. You know, every one of us has the same hopes and dreams and loves and considerations, and you know, we may be different color skin, maybe different religions, maybe different anything else, but the tears of a mother are the same everywhere. They may sound different, but they're not, you know, they really aren't, and languages sound different, but the communication is always from the heart, and it's just that we as humanity haven't quite learned that yet. And so here we are in an age where we have a wonderful opportunity to embrace each other as human beings, to grow and to learn to love, and to learn to be colorblind, and to learn to be religion blind, or whatever it is, but rather to see more precisely the beauty of our humanity. Because, you know, I'm sure if there's an alien out there, he's amazed at how much people can love. And I think that's the most amazing thing to me, is how beautiful humanity can love. And so my wish also for everyone is to find that love in yourself. Because we all, you know, part of that distinction of like, oh, those people are over there, is because we're all afraid. We're all afraid of, you know, and the voice that we speak to ourselves in is so often so cruel and so mean and so heartless. You know, it's a voice that we learn in our childhood and in our adolescence, to take on that voice of the most critical part of ourselves and to do that. But sometimes you have to fall in love with yourself first and realize you can quiet that negative voice and become the best friend you've ever had, you know? Children are great at loving and great at just being themselves, and then we lose a little bit, but we can all gain that back. And that's what I seek to do with my characters, is to always find the innocence, to always find the joy, and to never be harmful in them. So that's just, I mean, that's a little bit of a rundown of me. But really, you know, if you want to be an actor, it's a great thing, because you get to, every character has to be real. So you have to study what it is inside that character. What are they looking for? And it's always love, but they don't know how to get it. And so they do it by being evil or whatever it is, you know? So that's what they do. That's who they become. But they're still inside pretty good. They still want love, they still know how to get it. So that's what I do in my characters. I always play with that. I always play with like you know, Waluigi. Everybody cheat but me, oh, you know, he cheat but me. And then he can cheat because he feels sorry for himself that other people are cheating, even though they're not, he is. But that's his way, you know. And Wario's way is, oh, have a rough day. You know, and it's another, oh, I did this all by myself. You know, all those things, they're all his way. So, you know, and of course to me, my favorite character, Mario, is so full of love and so full of joy and so full of happiness that it just makes me so happy to find that place in myself where I find sheer joy, sheer happiness, and to put that out there into my work is such an honor. It's such a joy, as is your enjoyment of the game. To me, that gives me a great sense of joy and a great sense of responsibility to do it with the absolute purity that I can. So, once again, thank you very much for playing my game. And I do want to make sure that I open things up for questions, because I'll keep talking forever. And there's a question right there. Hello, how are you?
Hello, my name is Charles.
Oh, she's right here at the microphone. Come on up to the microphone, and we'll just take turns on the microphone. Hi.
Hi, I was wondering what is your favorite character to voice?
My favorite character to voice, that's a great question. It's Super Mario! Woohoo! You know, but I love Luigi too, because I was the second born, and I'm also more like Luigi than Mario. I'm much more trepidatious and fearful of, like, you know, my brother was the type of guy, you know, if he was inside and wanted to go outside, he just went, even if there was a plate glass window in the way, you know, and I was like, I don't know, should we go outside? I don't know, you know, so, but I love all the characters, but Mario's like, woo! Thank you for that. Who's your favorite?
I like Yoshi.
Yoshi! He's great. Isn't it amazing what a great driver he is? A lot of people feel, a lot of people feel like a Yoshi cannot possibly drive a Mario Kart, but I find his karts always seem to go faster and control better than mine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello! How are you? Oh, thank you for doing that. Thank you. Hi.
How many Mario games have you played?
How many Mario games have I done? That is a great question. And you know, I can just now tell you, because somebody from Guinness Book of World Records contacted me and said, congratulations, you've done 95 games. I've done 95 Mario games. And of course, there are more to come, so whoopee! What's your favorite one? Thank you. Mario Kart, number one. I love Mario Kart 8. I try to tell everybody when I go to a city like New York or Los Angeles where the traffic is always terrible, don't drive a car. Hop in a Mario Kart. There's no anti-gravity, right? And then you fly into town over everybody, over the Holland Tunnel, and then you come down, you park, put the game on pause, and then you're there. Whoopee! Thank you very much. Hi.
Hey, I'm your biggest fan, Cal Hankins.
Thank you, Cal. Thank you
I
very
have
much.
two questions.
Sure.
It's about the first question is about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Oh boy.
Is there a possibility that Gino from the Super Mario RPG game can get in?
Well, you know, that's a great question. I'm a voiceover actor, so I have the unique privilege of knowing absolutely nothing. That's the greatest thing. But when I get a phone call or a text that says, come and play in our sandbox next Wednesday, then I get there and I go, yippee! What's the other question?
My other question is, what do you think about the Super Mario plush adventures that people make on YouTube? Because I make them too.
The Super Mario plush? I think Super Mario, I happen to have 5 or 6 of them. I have 5 or 6 Yoshis. I have a green Yoshi, a purple Yoshi, a red Yoshi. I have a polka dot Yoshi. I have a rainbow Yoshi. I have a Princess Peach. I have Bowser, which I think, honestly, that's the best plushie I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how they make the little pokey turtle shell, but it's amazing. So, and I do have also, I have Toad.
Yeah.
Of course I have like
And as soon as
Luigi.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Who's your favorite plush toy?
My favorite plush toy? Where do I begin? And pretty much, I own a lot of Mario plush toys.
Yay.
And my favorite ones that I currently own are Mario, Yoshi, and Bowser.
Mario, Yoshi, Bowser. Yippee! Thank you. Great questions. Hi!
What would you say is your favorite Mario game you ever had a voice for?
Wow, my favorite Mario game that I've ever had the voice for. I have had so much fun. And at 95 games, it's like, you know, Mario 64 has a certain level of joy because, you know, this how I got the job of Mario. I usually start with that, but let me tell you, I was an actor. I did 10 years of theater. I did a training in London. I came back and I was sitting there one day and a friend said, hey, you want to audition for a corporate video? And I said, what's a corporate video? It's a video that's corporate. What do I have to do? You have to act. Okay. So I did like 600 corporate videos. And then, you know, one day I was doing a commercial and somebody said, you know, cut, great, you do voiceover? I said, sure. Not having a clue what it meant. And he says, great, here's a copy. Oh, just buy the right item at the right price right now. Great, here's more money. Yippee, I'm a voice actor, you know. So one thing is led to another. And I'm sitting there, you know, doing what actors do, sitting on the beach reading a book, you know, while waiting for the sun to set. And a friend of mine calls me up or pays me. And he says, you gotta go audition for this job for Las Vegas. It's a real-time animation thing or something like that. And I'm gonna be doing some stuff, you should go. And I said, there is no way I would ever crash an audition. I am an actor. Where should I go? And I did. I got off the beach, I drove over, and I pulled into I found a parking space, which is a miracle in itself. I'm walking in the door, as he's walking out the door with the cameraman behind him, and I said, hi, can I read for this thing in Las Vegas? I had no idea what it was. And the guy looks at me and goes, oh, gosh. Oh, wow, all right, we'll set the camera up. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn named Mario for this thing called Nintendo, and you're gonna have these things glued to your face, and you're gonna talk as this cartoon character, but everybody else is gonna see and hear through secret cameras, you know, only the character, but you'll hear and see them through the hidden camera and microphone. So make up a voice, make up a video game, make up anything you want. I'm not gonna pay you to drink coffee all day, because we have no idea if it's gonna work or not. But whenever you run out of things to say, that's your audition. And I'm thinking to myself, Italian plumber from Brooklyn. Get out of my face, I'm wickedy. But I'm not gonna do something like that because I have this principle, never be hurtful, and that would bother children, I think. So I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna do something more nice, more kind, more pleasant. You know, I had Romeo and Timmy in the shoe, nice Italian guy, go like that, make that younger, and then just make up a video. I don't know anything about video games, except, you know, wacka 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 wacka, you know, and boom boom, which is the sound I heard the most. And I'm like, well, I'll just make something up. What should I do? Oh yeah, make something up about food, since that's a theme in my life. And you know, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, what will I make up about food? I don't know what I'm going to make about food. What are you going to make about food? I don't know, but I'm getting hungry thinking about food. Me too. Let's go eat something about food. Okay, I hear action. I'm like, hello, I'm Mario. Let's make a pizza pie together. And I started making pizzas, and then I chase you to the pizza. I catch you the pizza. You make a pizza, chase me to the pizza. And then when you catch me the pizza, then I make the pizza. Yippee! And then we're going to make a lasagna, because he didn't say cut. But I thought for sure, you know, he said, so I ran out of things to say. So I'm like, okay, let's make lasagna. I make lasagna, do a little pasta lasagna, then I cheese it back. And when I catch you with lasagna, you gotta chase me in the pan, but I'm gonna take the pan down to the bottom of the mountain. And then you gotta chase me down the mountain, and you're gonna make lasagna, and chase me up the mountain. And then you do it, and you go down the mountain. And then we're gonna make spaghetti meatballs. You know, and then we're gonna make tortellini, and the mascarpone, and the ciabatta. And I just kept making up pasta and chasing each other with pasta, you know, and I just kept going and going and going and going. And I was like, this is a fun character, I like this, and this is fun. And he didn't say stop, so I'm gonna keep going. And I heard, stop talking. Cut. There's no more tape, thank you, we'll be in touch. Apparently, I talked for half an hour for one of these 30-minute cassette things, and he goes, and you know, I'll be in touch, which to an actor means, there's the door, goodbye, you know. And so I went back to the beach, I saw the sunset, he gets on the phone, he calls Nintendo, I found out Mario, I got him. And he only sent my tape up there, and that was 29 glorious, happy years ago. I have no idea what I had to do. I forgot what you asked, but I think that was some of an answer.
You know what? That was perfect. That was perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
It's an honor. I was just wondering, was there really any difference working with Ubisoft? of the Rabbids game versus just working with Nintendo proper?
Everyone I work with is so wonderful. They're so kind, so loving. And the beautiful thing in Ubisoft, Nintendo, and I think Bethesda, I think everyone that I've had the privilege of working with, everybody there loves video games. They have a passion and a joy from doing the best they can possibly do. I tell this story like, okay, this is what I heard. I think it's true that, you know, Super Mario Galaxy came out, and people had so much fun making the game that they kept making planets with other pieces of gravity and other little ideas in there. And Mr. Miyamoto said, well, since we're having fun, let's go, you know, and they made Galaxy 2. So that's my exposure to things, is pure love and pure joy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Hi there.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
So, my question is, what do you think Luigi would say to anyone who's having a hard time? Because I know Luigi is all about facing his fears.
Yes, he'd say, you're number one, you can do it, ho-ho! You know, and that is the thing about life, isn't it? You know, life gets better. It really does. And you know, we all have the ups and downs and ups and downs. And, you know, I think there's a, you know, when you're in the middle of the cloud, sometimes all you can see is the cloud. But when you can start taking your power back, caring enough for yourself and loving yourself enough to go, wait a minute, this is my life. And you take your power back, you can actually see more crisply. You can actually feel more awareness and more clarity. And I really believe in that. We are so much more powerful than we think we are. But that little negative voice, Harold, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You know, that voice is really terrified and lonely and scared and angry. But when you recognize your own magnificence, when you're your own best friend, and you say, I can do this, you will. You will.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very
It's
much.
such an honor.
Thank you, and I hope whatever. Oh, hello! Hi!
What's your favorite Mario game of all the Mario games?
Wow, what's my favorite Mario game of all the Mario games? Whoa, 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 whoa! You know, I love Mario 64. That's one of the things I was trying to say. Because I had done, and that was part of that question, thank you, but I had done Mario Live for 5 years. You know, and just like, you know, I would see people walking by and say, hello, oh, look at that, what a beautiful dress you have on, you know, and that would start a conversation. And then one day, 5 years after learning this and making decisions about the character, like, I want him to be completely positive and loving and caring, and I don't want the word no to be in his dialogue, you know, it's like, no, I don't want that, I want, well, and then explain, because no is such an easy to use word, but it's not the one that makes us think and feel and be the most present. So I, you know, working on this character, and then one day I got a phone call, Mr. Miyamoto would like you to be in a Mario game, and I was like, yippee! So that game has a certain something, because we had to invent, we had never done these things in recording, like, spaghetti, ravioli, mamma mia, you know, these little things we got to do. But I also love Odyssey, you know, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Galaxy. I had goosebumps the first time I saw that. And Super Mario 3D World, you know, every time it's like, come and play in our sandbox, we're gonna have fun, and we really do. So thank you for that question.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. Yay, hi!
Let's see, there we go. All right, I was just wondering, is there a character from a different franchise you would love to voice? Anyone that you saw that would say, oh, I can do that, or?
No.
No?
No, you know, I look at life as the glass is a lot more than half full. My life is so full of joy. I don't spend a lot of time, I don't audition for things anymore, because you know, in general, because there are so many young people that are out there working, and I have the work that I absolutely love, and you know, to me, there's a huge responsibility. I told my agents years ago, I was not going to do any more voiceover or any character on video or film that uses obscenities or swears or does things. I take the responsibilities of being a celebrity in whatever capacity I am extremely seriously, you know? And I think you do have a responsibility, because the first thing you learn as an adult, and the thing that makes you an adult beyond your chronological years, is to be aware that what you do and say and feel has an impact in the world. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to be like known as everybody goes, oh my gosh, that's Mario doing the voice of somebody, yeah, you know? And they're like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. It would become less real and less true what I do. Because I believe in love and joy and passion and, you know, romance and however the crazy little world stars are, I believe in that. So I stick with that. But thank you, it's a lovely question. Thank you. Hello! Don't you look fabulous?
Thank you. Washington Memorial.
Thank you.
So, what's the hardest voice acting job you've done?
The hardest voice acting job I've ever done. I've never had a hard job. They're all pretty easy. You know, because it's like a carpenter trains how to use a nail gun or a hammer. That's what I do. So I used to love to make my mom laugh. We had this Jackie Gleason show, and there was a guy, hey Joe, hello you Mr. Donahue. And I would do that, and my mom would crack up. You know, so I started falling in love with funny voices, even though I thought in my delusional mind I was going to be a lawyer. You know, the party, the first part, and the party, the second part, and and it turns out, and I end up to be, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. You know, so it's never been hard. It's always been fun. The only time I've ever had to, is I'm seeking my little memory banks. I've done several thousand jobs. I remember one time I was doing a commercial, and you couldn't get it the way I felt it was right. And the reason I couldn't is because I had this little vision outside of myself of what I thought it should be. I wasn't in the character, and acting is like chasing a ball on the beach for a dog. He's in heaven, and all he wants to do, or she wants to do, is get the ball and bring it back, and get the ball and bring it back. Throw in the ocean, I'm gonna get the ball. Throw in the sand, I'm gonna get the ball. That's what acting is becoming in that moment exactly what you're doing. So you train and train and train and learn all this stuff, and then you throw it all away, and you get the ball on the beach. And you know, doing advertising, if I don't believe in a product, I have a hard time, So buy milk. It builds strong bones every day, and it's like, well, milk is kind of like it does create mucus, and we're not always sure. A lot of people it's not really good for people, and I got a friend that's lactose intolerant. Buy milk, kid, but it's like, so I couldn't be genuine, and I could tell that I wasn't being genuine, and that was the hardest part for me, was not being able to just surrender and become the dog chasing the ball on the beach. But life is that way too. When you want to love somebody, love, or if you want love for yourself, love. If you feel like there's not enough, give a little bit of yourself and feel what it's like to feel gratitude, or remember gratitude, remember joy, and it brings back in, because these are energies that generate, So oftentimes you have to give when you want to receive. It's a weird thing about life. But so for me, that was the hardest thing, was not realizing that I needed to just let go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. But aside as acting, it's all really fun. Drink lots of water, so you don't bother your throat. I know.
Wario, he had like a very inconsistent voice over the years.
Oh.
Was there ever like it sounded a little high, sometimes it sounded low? You ever had like a preferred voice?
I've never heard this before, so I don't know. I like the Mario Gold. I think that was a lot of fun. I love that, there he is, like, I go, oh, I did this all myself. That to me is just like, it's just a dynamic, beautiful little character. And I love Wario.
Okay, that's it, thanks.
Thank you. Wink.
Right.
Hi.
So 2 questions.
Sure.
One, what's your opinion on Sonic the Hedgehog?
You know, I used to call him Chronic. You know, and then I said things like, you know, it was a little blue fur ball that Yoshi brought in. You know, I used to joke around like that. But then I saw they started doing the Olympic Games, and I love the Olympic Games. I think they're so much fun. There's so much joy, and I love the little rivalry. So I love it. You know, what's not to love? I do think that even though he appears to be faster, Mario actually is faster than Sonic. I'm just saying. And I think Princess Peach can do a hurdle like nobody else alive.
So the second question,
Sure.
are you hoping they bring back missing Nintendo characters from the past and future Mario games?
Oh, that's a lovely question. You know, I'm the dog on the beach chasing the ball. I don't know anything about making video games. I don't know. I do know that, you know, every time they make a game, it's like 3, 4, 5, and more years in the creation between the concept and the animation, the drawing, the graphics, the design, the creation of the world, the creation of the internal world, the 3 dimensions now. It's years in the making. And then they phone me up and they say, come play in the sandbox. I go, woo! And I go play for 4 hours, 4-hour sessions, 2 or 3 or 4 of them. And you know, that's what I do. So that's what I know. And that's what I, you know, and when I walk in the door and I see the animation, I go, oh boy, he's in this game. That's the extent of it for me. But I hope that every fan is absolutely thrilled every time.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. Hi.
How many characters have you voiced?
I don't know. I do Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi. I did Donkey Kong for a while. I did Toad once. I did some Yoshi voice, but I don't know whether that ended up in the game. I've done probably 200 video games outside the Mario franchise from the old days. I did a whole bunch of the Star Wars games. I did 14 voices of the Star Wars game. I did Lord of the Rings, like, you know, Parthenax, and what brings you to the throat of the world? You know, and I did a whole bunch of things. You know, I did a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, doing 14 voices one game now. So. Hi.
Hello.
Nice hat, bro.
Thank you. Okay, so I had a question about Waluigi.
Wow.
So if he were to somehow get his own game, hint, what do you think the plot would be for it?
A plot? Oh boy. See, once again, I don't know. If I tell you a plot and they ended up using it, it'd be like this. Because I don't know anything about that. I was doing an interview in London. This is like 15 years ago. And, 5 minutes, I'm talking fast on this one. Thank you. And you know, someone said, any new projects you're working on? And I said, yes, I'm writing my autobiography, thinking that would motivate me to actually sit down and write my autobiography. Because I have such a wonderful life. I want to tell the world, be happy, yippee, you know? And I showed up, yay, I'm going to write this book. I sit down and go, oh, and then in the beginning there was me, and oh look, a butterfly. And then that was, you know, a year later, when is that autobiography coming out? Oh, and then I was 1 year old and oh look, a cow, you know. I'm not the person that can do anything in it, but I think that Waluigi will be very happy anytime he's in the game because he gets to cheat a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is your thoughts on the they announced like a Super Mario movie made by Illumination.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just a little curious that if you know any of the cast or if you're going to do the voice for Mario, and
I know absolutely nothing until it's announced. That's when I know everything, just like everybody else. It's the wonderful thing about being me. I'm just sitting there playing with a ball on the beach, and when someone says, fetch, I go get it, you know? But I of course, I would love to do it. It would be a tremendous honor and a tremendous joy, and I support Nintendo. I love Nintendo, so I hope I see you in there. Thank you. Thank you. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question. So you were talking about Galaxy 2, 3D World 64 Odyssey, but what are your thoughts on Sunshine?
I love Mario Sunshine. You know, to me that was a hallmark in my career. That was 2001 that came out, and that's when they called me to come to Australia to do promotional work for that. And I get on the plane, I fly to Australia, the first time I've ever been there, and I completely lost my voice. And I've got 52 interviews set up, and I'm like, you know, and luckily I had planned a week's vacation afterwards, so everybody slid the interviews to the next week, and I could, you know, but I became fast friends with a guy named David Yarnton, who was just a dream of a client and a dream of a friend, who, you know, kept saying, "You're all right, Mike, don't worry, you're getting better. I can hear your voice, you're saying better already." And I'm like, "I don't think so," you know. So you know, it's a great game. And did you know that Professor Egad, who made the Poltergeist 5000, is also the guy that made Professor Flood, which is another reason I like science.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Hi there. Oh, I'll go really fast, okay? Really super fast. Hi.
Have you voiced any of the characters in a Mario animated series?
Not yet. Thank you, I'm working fast.
Can you T-pose?
Can I what?
Can you T-pose?
What's that? Like my mark? Like the flying, right? Hi. Oh, the letter T. Yeah. I can do L.
If you do play Smash or Mario Kart, who's your main vote?
Oh, I am so terrible at Smash. I don't know what's happening, but this is the pose that I do. I see myself in that bubble more often than I see myself. But I'm pushing all the buttons like this. I might as well be looking at the controller because I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Mario Kart, I always play as Mario. You know, because if I'm playing, I'm like, whoa, 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 ow. That's another story. Thank you. Okay, really fast. I'll keep answering really fast.
I have two questions.
Okay.
The first one is, aside from the Mario games, what are some other Nintendo games you're enjoying?
I love Kirby. And I love Kirby. He's so great, you know?
And the other question that I'm asking my friends who are too much of cowards to come up here is they're asking about your Toad impression or your Toad voice.
I couldn't even remember. I mean, that was 1996. I can't remember. I really can't remember. I can remember Donkey Kong. Oh yeah, here we go. You know, that was my Donkey Kong. I can't remember Toad. It wasn't quack quack. Thank you. Okay, we have really two more questions. Really, I have to go really fast.
Do you think Luigi will ever survive until the release of Smash Ultimate?
I don't know. I'm watching too. I don't know. I have a feeling Luigi's got some good things in store. Yeah, thank you. Hi.
So in the new trailer, it shows that Toadette picks up the crown and she turns into Peach. So do you think that Peach could be a toad?
Maybe. Thank you all very much. It's so good. Thank you so much for coming out here. You're number one. Thank you. Oh, and I'm going to be at my booth. You know, you don't have to pay money, but you can come and say hi. But we also have autographs and we have things that we're doing, you know, and pictures and things like that. So feel free to come on by. Thank you so much.
Being a teenager at that time, you don't really understand the things that you tell the kids. It'll take 20 years to really understand that. So at that time, and I'll explain it because it made no sense. At that time, when they wanted me to leave the show, I was only for 10 episodes, then they offered me Cybertron, which was VR Troopers. So we had two stages, like two huge stages, and they're like, hey, you remember during that time there was a lot of drama, the other cast members leaving, and it was just a lot of drama. So for me, I loved my job. I didn't want to get involved in no striking. I didn't want to do anything like that. So I was happy to move Tommy to another stage and get my own show and just be by myself. And so that's what we were doing. And then we sold Cybertron, and then I did the pilot, and then everybody was freaking out that the Green Ranger lost his powers. I mean, parents were calling at work, and kids were devastated for real. So Fox is like, oh, we got to bring this guy back. Like they put a petition of like pens and papers and